What's up, everybody? What's up,
Hello,
everybody?
hello.
I'm so excited today because I have my dear friend and a total baddie, Emily Sturgill, on the
Hi.
podcast with us today. And Emily, I will formally introduce you, but why don't you just, say hi and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into it.
I love this, Kristin. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everybody. I am with the Say Yes and Figure Out Queen. I can't believe it. Okay, I always joke that I never went looking for sales. It found me. So that's like my niche, right? And tell me if you can relate. I spent most of my life just trying to like figure out what I should do or should want and doing all the things right and playing small in the process. And when I transitioned to being my own boss in entrepreneurship, what I realized is that I wasn't the only one doing that. And so now through what I have is a Closing Edge Academy, now through that, I help heart-led women and coaches and consultants really break free from that playing small, that hiding away, find and step into themselves so that they can, create conversion and conviction and cash flow in the process for their business.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait. I cannot wait for you all to hear Emily's goodness. I can't wait to learn. So get your pen and paper out
Woo.
because this is going to be a jam-packed episode when you have two sales queens
I know.
in
This
the
is so
same
exciting.
room, right? And I love that we have the mindset that there's more than enough of more than enough of more than enough to go around so that you can bestow upon this audience like your sales strategies, because we all want to learn. And don't you have a heart? Isn't it like heart led? You have a heart led theme to what you do,
Yes.
the Closing Edge
Yep,
Academy.
yep, yep. So I call sales conversations heart conversations.
Mm.
So those are honest, empowering, action forward, real transformational conversations is what they talk about. And really my idea behind it was like we're already doing sales all the time, right? Like you have kids, I have kids. A lot of your listeners probably have kids, and it's like we're selling the kids every day on like this is why you need to eat your vegetables, like this is why you need to put pants on for daycare or school, or let's get up on time or go to bed, or yeah, you do need to take a bath, right? So like even that in itself, like we're selling every day. And so happened when I came to entrepreneurship and I realized people didn't have like the ninja wizard sales skills that I thought because that was just my experience in life. Like I just thought everybody goes through sales training, I guess. I don't know. I was living in a box. So I was like, I realized when people were scared of sales and sales conversations, like my way into the conversation was, hey, we're already doing this like
Right.
literally every day.
Every day.
Even if you're like a leader, which you were a leader, you're rallying people around an idea. If you're in a team group project in school, right? Like getting everybody on board, everybody doing their part, like you're selling them on like, hey guys, we want to get the A. So all of that is sales. And so sales conversations are heart conversations, and we're doing heart conversations all the time.
I used to joke with my sister. She's an attorney.
Oh,
So I'm like,
excellent. I came
you're
from a law
also,
firm of attorneys. So
I'm
I
like,
can
you're also in
riff.
sales, right? And
Yeah.
then my other sister like doesn't like salespeople, but and so
Ah,
she fits people for hearing aids. But guess what?
oh,
She sells them into hearing
yes.
aids. And when she stopped thinking that sales was icky, and now it was,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ironically, like this heart led thing because she's helping people hear. Now she's climbing the leaderboard at her company for having sold the most number of hearing aids that month. But for her, it's not sales, it's helping people with the transformation. And I know with our individual
Yeah.
backgrounds, like we know that that's the outcome anyway. It's not like buy this
Right.
or wear these pants because I want you to. No, it's like this is actually going to help you be better at preschool today.
It's
Or
how you're gonna feel in the pants and what you're gonna be able to do. Play on the jungle gym, play with your friends. I love that.
I love it. Okay, let me give
It's
you
what
the
you do with the
introduction.
hearing aids. Oh yeah.
Let me give you the introduction you deserve before we just like geek out on this whole thing. So, folks, Emily Sturgill is the founder of Closing Edge Academy and a sales coach, as we've talked about, for heart led coaches and consultants who are ready to stop making business harder. Someone say harder, harder than it
Harder.
needs to be. Yeah.
Mm.
She helps her clients clarify their core offer, sharpen their messaging so it actually lands, and lead ethical, heart centered sales conversations that end in a clear yes or no. Like, my nose. Like, isn't it like yes or no? That's just so, it's so good. So Emily is known for blending strategy, emotional intelligence, and high integrity sales in a way that feels clear, human, powerful, and like a warm hug. Her
Yep.
work is better than conversion. It helps women become the kind of leaders whose businesses are easier to trust, easier to buy from, and more supportive of the lives they actually want to live. Because when your offer and your messaging and your sales are aligned, the conviction makes you magnetic. I love that. I
Thank
love it.
you.
Tell us a little bit about your background. Like, you said you worked at a law firm. Like, where did you learn to
Oh
sell?
yeah. That's such a good question. And my first ever job was at American Eagle, like so a small
Mm.
retailer, and they would put you around, the store. And it's so funny because you and I had done a recent sales challenge together, and she used the analogy of like a storefront, right? Like whatever your business is, how do you invite people into the store? So I like, oh, I could get down with this because retail before the law firm was like a huge part of my life for many, many years, right? And you'd think it's like, hey, you need some help? Hey, can I help you? Hey, can I help you? But it wasn't until you like started connecting with the people, getting in conversation, like, what's your day do? Like, what are you out? You're in the mall, like, awesome. Like, have you tried that new smoothie place? And like, you open up that connection and that conversation where now they're in the fitting room and they're trying on stuff and you're like building up the basket and all these different things, right? So that was like my first ever experience with sales. I had done waitressing, cocktail waitressing. That was a fun in college cocktail waitressing at shout out to the Drunken Monkey. It's no longer there, but there, that was an experience. But then sales too, right? Like when they're like, I want a particular drink, but like what I learned, which is interesting, was like, okay, well, I could just take it at face value, or I could be like, cool, do you want this upsell vodka or whatever, and then I realized my tickets started getting bigger, right? And like you had to have like a personality and really connect with people again for them to want to buy from you. And so like those were like my little ones. I sold house paint. This is like another college story. I know. This is like my door to door experience. Okay, Emily is, and if you know Emily, like you'd be like, I don't know how she survived, and I don't know either. But I'd be going door to door. I went to this. Well, first of all, I went to this like bro. Like I don't know how I got in it, but I remember being interviewed for it and feeling like I needed to like prove myself. And like, I think Kristin would get this. Like, I think we have a little bit of competitiveness in us. And so, like, especially like I'm a baller at job interviews. And because I think I get like my competitor gets ignited and I get like, you're going to like me. Like, oh, I'm going to win this spot. And so I remember winning this like job for a painting company where there's like, oh, now we're gonna go out and we're gonna sell house paint. And I go to this like bro sales training downtown Denver, where it's like at the Sheraton Hotel, and we're in this room, and they're like showing us clips of like Boiler Room and I don't even know if Wolf of Wall Street was out at that time, but imagine them showing you that Glengarry Glen Ross. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever seen those clips. Yeah, like standard sales bro training is like, watch these guys in the movies and they're on the phone and they're like, they're gonna close the heck out of this person. And so it's like, now go to the doors. And I remember, this is so funny, I'm gonna tell you because I just think it's hilarious. But I go to my first like group out on in the field, right? We're gonna go knock on doors and talk about house paint and get estimates. And I'm running with this pack of dudes. And when I say running, like we're literally running. Like he's like, and this is how my director of the area, he's like, and this is how we do it. We get from house to house really fast because the more houses you talk to, the more estimates you're going to get. And we're running in between houses. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? Anyway, I did.
Go.
Yeah. I did end up selling some house paint, some exterior house paint.
I love it.
And I
I
have all
think
the lines if you ever want to know like how to go up to somebody's house and talk about paint.
we do want to know, because tell us in the comments if you've done door to door sales.
Ooh,
I
yes. I want
I
to
did
know.
that, and our friend Stacy, she did that. My
Yes.
experience was in more of a commercialized product. Well, maybe not, but like yellow page advertising. I
Whoa.
started yellow. So again, it's like two businesses, I suppose, instead of like consumer.
Hmm.
But we did it in college. I did an internship where we all flew to, I don't know how I got the job either. I got really lucky, right? And we all flew to North Carolina, which basically was like college spring break 301. So like we were flying home on
Mm.
that airplane very hungover. Like I do not remember
Whoa.
anything
Yeah.
we learned, but we learned how to sell. And then we got sent out into our region. So I was in my South Bend, Indiana region, and there was 5 of us, and we would meet in the morning and we would meet in the afternoon. And I talk about it in Be a Better Sales Leader actually, because I
I love
remember
it.
sitting in the parking lot calling my dad, and I pretended like I was scared. Like I had convinced myself I was scared. And
I
he was like,
see.
Kristin, you know what you're doing. Cause he was a salesperson. My mom was a
Yeah.
salesperson. Like I said, my sister was already a salesperson, right?
They're all selling
In a
everything.
lawyer job. Right. So he's like, you know what to do, just go do it. And I said, oh, okay. And I walked into the dart store, and sure enough, he bought like a quarter page ad. He's like, you guys, your college hasn't been here in forever to get money. I used to advertise all the time. I didn't even have to
Oh,
sell it.
wow.
Yeah.
That's the perfect first door to walk into.
I was like, I did it.
Then you're like, I can do this.
Right? Isn't it so, it's kind of like you have kids and I have kids, and we don't know if college will be around, or it will be around, and I want my kids
Sure.
to go for the experience I do, but like also my
Yeah.
7-year-old just said to me today at the playground before drop off, like, "Mommy, when can I start my own business?" And I said, "Right now,
Oh,
Gibby.
get it.
Like you already have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Just like
Let's
start."
go.
But like, wouldn't it be so fascinating for humans to have to go through some sort of, maybe not the training at the bro sales training, but like that door to
Right.
door selling
Yeah.
experience? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it creates a lot of I think it builds a lot of skill set. It builds endurance, but and like stamina for rejection and for people saying off the wall stuff to you. At least in my experience, right? Not everybody's happy when you come up to their door, but and then you build a lot of connection skills, right? Like a lot of I heard somebody use the word gumption and I looked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, you build a lot of gumption in sales, right? Like this conviction and this confidence and this like know-how. So I think yeah, anybody who goes through door to door, if you're in the comments and you've done that, like good for you because you have earned a skill set that not a lot of people I learned have.
How? Well, and they do it. I'm thinking you have a daughter, right? So maybe
I
she'll do
do now have a daughter. Hmm.
Girl Scouts or brownies. So like, right? But think about even
Yeah.
selling cookies these days. Back in the day, I'm sure our parents helped, but now ever the parents help, right?
Right.
And so yeah, there is some,
Actually,
yeah, tell me.
well, you want to hear something hilarious? Is so I have a few nieces, and one of my nieces is in the age of slinging cookies, and I was like, okay, so now that I have my daughter, I was like, do you think she's gonna be a Girl Scout, and we're gonna go sling cookies together? And my husband's like, I mean, why not? And I was like, okay, tell me what the top performing, and so we spent like a good 30-40 minutes looking into like what the top like Girl Scout cookie seller like because they sell in boxes and all sorts of stuff. But I was like, dang, okay, we got to work up our way to
Yeah.
try to get that spot.
Yeah, because I think it's more than cookies now. And isn't that ironic, right? It's like
Ooh.
it's more than, I also cut my teeth at the Gap, at Banana Republic, at like lots of
Oh,
different
I love this. We're the
limited.
same.
Yeah, I know. I know. And my girlfriends in college refused to come shop. So I started in high school, but I did it also
Me
in
too.
college. They refused to come shop because they couldn't just walk in for a tank top. They were going to walk out with a whole wardrobe,
Mm.
accessories. And that's the same with Girl Scout cookies now. Back then it wasn't just one box, it was a few boxes. But now it's like there's magazines, there's,
Yep.
I don't know if there's mugs and other type of stuff, but there's like a whole catalog of stuff you could buy. And that's there's something to be said about the transformation, the outcome, like
Right.
the feeling. Okay, let's get us back on track. So if you could leave our audience today with like something super meaningful, a framework, or tell us a little bit more about in your sales business as what you do today, because we'll bring all the stories back. The stories are so fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love the stories. Okay. So anyway, cut to I'm leading a multi-million dollar sales team for a law firm. And just like you were talking earlier about your sister being an attorney, right? Think of like doctors or whatever business you're in the business of sales. And what we learned was that attorneys like weren't the best salespeople because they would want to go and give them all the strategies, all the things, and people would walk out of there with their heads like about to explode. And so the transition we made to in order to go from six figures to multi seven figures, almost to eight by the time I had left, was this idea that we didn't need to throw a bunch of strategy into the sales conversation. In fact, what made it better, so perk up, right? What made it better was really listening to the person and digging deeper into what it was that was missing. So like in the law firm at the time, it's like family law, right? So these people's like lives are falling apart. There is a lot of urgency, but there was still people saying, no, not right now, or I can't have the money, right, to get to the life that I want. But you would dig in terms of really helping them understand what is the vision. If you could paint a picture, if you could, you may have heard this before, if you could wave a magic wand and have it go any way you wanted, what would the outcome be? That was like a real statement. That's a real mission behind any sales conversation I believe that you have, is like, what is the transformation? What is the vision that you want to get to? And then how do we bridge this gap? I had this in my sales academy the first time I launched it last year. I had this picture of Ninja Wizard. I'm like, okay, imagine somebody's at a cliff. They're like, how am I going to get over to the other side, right? That's their dream life, that or dream scenario on the other side. Maybe it's making more money. Maybe it's having more time with your kids. Maybe it's, having a really good reputation with your family or your dad or whatever it ends up being. And you're the magic wizard that like comes up and opens up the conversation to let them know like, hey, you don't have to go years and years and years and years to walk around the canyon. Like we could take a shortcut. We could make it this way. We could make it that way. Like you're asking them what they want and what they need, and then helping them see the vision of like bridging this gap to get to the other side. So that is what we did inside of the law firm in order to sell millions of dollars. And my team was on like almost 2,000 sales calls a year. So I was listening all the time. And the calls that we wouldn't close were the calls where we would get into strategy mode, where it was like, okay, well, they're just calling because they want to know what it looks like to have a case, right? And what the legal system's going to tell them is the step by step, play by play. And the calls we did close were the calls where we focused on the person, the story, the feelings, right? Like I think that sales is so much about feelings and evoking emotion, right? Like what is life looking like right now? What is it feeling like right now? What's holding you back? What's keeping you stuck, right? Like this, and probably anybody who's done a sales conversation, this sounds familiar, but really lock into that, because that is the key. That is the key that helps you move them into a yes, right? Because you're using the emotions and the story to move them into understanding and feeling why they value that outcome, that transformation, more than the discomfort of figuring out where the money is, or figuring out how it's going to fit into their schedule, or figuring out, if their spouse is going to let them buy it or not, right? If you think about like objections, and you probably get this all the time too, Kristin, but like people ask me about objections all the time. And I'm like, if we could just spend a little less time focusing on objections and a little more time on the connection side of it, and however to get them emoting in a way that's like, I can't picture my life without this outcome. Like you've painted this beautiful picture with me so clearly. I had never even looked at it like this before.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the wins are.
I love that. You've said so many cool things in there. I love so I always say, but that's just me. Most people listening probably don't think of like the magic wand analogy, right? But I'll say to people, if
Yeah.
you could wave a magic wand, But I love what you did, which was paint a picture. Like we could visualize this wizard on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
You were describing like the before and after and why that's so important, because I think the
Hmm.
problem why, and we're not talking about why people think sales is icky, but I think that is a huge thing, is because they start, we used to call it the used car sales lot, right? Nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
people are even buying cars online. So there's even less of that as an experience, but it's more, well, I received 100 DMs last week and they truthfully were all icky. Everybody was trying to sell me something. And what
Right.
you're describing isn't selling somebody on something. You're talking about what Tony Robbins calls like sales is the transference of energy. And you're
Yeah.
talking about putting somebody in the energetic state. And we even read that in your bio. You're like, right, the conviction that you had working at the law firm or that you have now helping coaches and entrepreneurs is so magnetic because
Hmm.
you're because it's the transfer of energy. It's not you pulling them toward an outcome. It's them deciding
Right.
that they are so ready to go from where they are to where they want to go on the other edge of that wizard cliff. And so now the objections matter way less because I want that new life so bad. You're just like
Right.
the sales theory on its head, and I love that.
Oh, I love that. Nobody's ever said that to me, but I'll take it. Yeah, and I think you're right. That's exactly what we're doing. It's like if you're not skipping steps in the conversation and you're okay with holding the space for them to be like, yeah, this is why right now is not working the way I want it to work. And you're listening to them and you're actually seeing them and you're repeating back to them what they're saying. Like, here, take a note on this. Like, the superpower, like one of my very favorite superpowers in a sales conversation is paraphrasing.
Mm,
And that's in any conversation, right? Like anytime you can repeat back what the person said and then you repeat it back and reflect back to them, it's like you made it up or something. But you just got the words from them. And they are so appreciative and feel so seen and so heard and so understood, like, holy moly, you get me. And when you get them, now they're like, cool, take me by the hand and walk me over the wizard bridge. Because I couldn't imagine. I just talked to like three other law firms, or I just talked to like four other coaches that I was going to jump in with, but nobody's actually made me feel so heard and so understood in this moment. And to kind of piggyback just really quick on what you had mentioned about like car salesman or just like the term salesperson, I run a challenge. I run a challenge and it's selling with heart challenge. And so many times have I heard people talk about, well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. And I said, that's great. Like, I don't want you to be a salesperson. That's a whole different ball game. And I want you to be a leader. If you think about like coaches and consultants, right? Like you're leading people through a series of as steps or leading them through the breakthrough, right? So like you shouldn't be a salesperson in that scenario. You should be leading them to the life that they want, to the outcome that they want, and gifting them the solution, whatever it is that you have to offer. So yeah, when people talk about salespeople say, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not a salesperson, it's like, cool, you're in the right room because like that's not what we're doing.
yeah, isn't that great? Oh my gosh. Okay, if I had like a bell, or when I was on Bradley's dropping bombs, he would like play a sound. And so I just I want the audience to make sure they heard what you said right before that, because that's good too. But like the whole mirroring concept, that
Yeah.
is gold. And Emily just said, like, basically, if you take nothing else away from this, take this. And so, in body language, if you're in person or even on a Zoom, right? If somebody, well, like, let's just pretend we're in person. If somebody's crossing their leg, you could cross your leg if you're sitting
Yep.
face to face with them. Or if they're talking with their hands, you could talk with your whatever, right? So, if you're
Hmm.
mirroring somebody, you're doing what they're doing. And the other person, it's not like a trick. It's just the other person doesn't realize that you're mirroring them, but they all of a sudden feel
Right.
closer to you. They're like, wow, this person really cares. And you're like not doing anything other than just simply mirroring their behavior. And the same is
Right.
true in sales, because we're all salespeople. We've already proven that a million times over in this
Right.
conversation. Okay, so Emily's like, you don't need to be a salesperson. This isn't about being the best salesperson. This is about helping you get the life you desire by also helping the people you help, whether
Mm-hmm.
you're a law firm, whether you're a retail store, whether you're a coach, a consultant, an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. Your, sales, your business doesn't exist without sales. And so Emily
True.
is saying, if you're working retail and you've been connecting with the person about the new Jamba Juice that just opened in the mall while filling their basket with more clothes while they're in the fitting room, right? Like, oh my God, I saw this the other day on this woman. You would look so good on you. And you're not kidding. You're being sincere, right? So now instead of walking out of the fitting room with one item, they're walking out with 15 items. So they get to the
Right.
cash wrap and and you say, why not save 15% on this cart of clothes that you now have? Why not save money? So we're piling in all these things that Emily and I have been talking about, because now it's just not one thing, it's all the things that they have to have because they've crossed the wizard bridge, right? And even if you're selling a course, the same is true. Like, if you can use their language back on them, this is what Emily said, then they're more likely to say yes to the credit card, yes to the extra items, yes to this without feeling sold to. They're like, you're
Right.
right. I didn't just walk in here for a tank top. I walked in here with, needing a whole new resort wear outfit, closet or something. And so
Yeah,
it's
like
it's
I'm
not,
embodying hot girl summer. I don't even think there was hot girl summer existed back then, but
oh, the good old days. So I want to pause on that. If there's anything else you wanted to say about like reflecting people's words back and the psychology or the science behind it, or just in general, because that's really good. Right.
yeah, it's fascinating. So I do have a background like in college I went for psychology. I've always been fascinated with like the human brain and human behaviors and very like
Mhm.
observant just of like how people are. If you think about what's it called when not intimidate, imitate like what impersonators or you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Copy.
I think that's so interesting is like understanding somebody's behavior so much, right? And after you're like done what you've done for a certain long amount of time, you can almost kind of guess who's going to walk in your store or who's going to call on the phone. And it's so interesting because we're talking about mirroring from like a visual perspective, but you can also mirror somebody with tonality. Sorry, yeah, because we used to do a lot of phone calls after COVID. People wouldn't come into the office as much, so we got really good at phone consultations. But if you think about like even tonality or pacing your voice or like a high pitch versus a low pitch, there's ways that you can use like speaking with conviction. Oh my goodness, have you ever heard somebody talk in a way that they're like so passionate and so psyched about whatever it is that they're talking about that you're like leaning in and want to hear more, and you're getting excited too, right? They're leading you with their pace and their tonality and the energy behind their voice, so it's auditory too. And yeah, so it's a fascinating thing. But think about like, okay, so you're if you're feeling in the sales conversation or those moments, maybe you're doing a masterclass, maybe you're doing an event, right? And you're helping them kind of understand like where are you now? And maybe that has like a lower tone, lower energy. Okay, I want you to like close your eyes and visualize like where are you now? What doesn't feel good? Like where do you think you're holding back? Where do you want to jump more all in? Like how would you be showing up more, right? And then now you're gonna take them to I mean, if you've ever been to a Tony Robbins summit or event, right? Like they're taking you through ups and downs all the time. And that's what you're doing in a sales conversation really is like you're having them kind of feel what it feels like to be where they are now. And then you're going to lead them, right? You're going to paraphrase back. You're going to earn their trust. You're going to build rapport. And not because it's sleazy or slimy or manipulative, because again, you're a leader and you're gifting them a solution. And how irresponsible, first of all, how irresponsible of you if you don't do that, because we care about people. And so we want to move them. And so when it gets to the moment of moving them, like they're like, okay, now go ahead and close your eyes again, but this time feel in your body. Like, what does it feel like when you're earning the money, you're getting the cash flow, you're getting all the clients, you're able to get the clear yes. And you're like obsessed with your messaging and people are like, oh my gosh, like that's exactly, you're describing a way that they're connecting to. And me, right? If I'm explaining that and I'm explaining it in a way that's like got a lot of emotion and I don't want to say hype, but like energy, right? Then they're like, oh yeah, right, like, oh, I'm feeling it. All of a sudden, like, it becomes real. Right now, if we compare the two, which energy do you want to sit in more? So
Right.
it's like more obvious, right, that we're closer to the yes, we're closer to them saying yes to themselves,
Yeah.
because you've allowed them and given them the space to feel that, and you led them through that.
Yeah. Yeah, and what you're saying, I mean, at the end of the day, too, it's like you believe that it's not
Mm-hmm.
slimy or sleazy of what you're doing, right? It
Right.
really is helping people. And so when you know that you're helping people, buy yellow page advertising, buy paint for their house, buy from whatever clothing store you work at, or buy a course or a year-long mastermind, whatever it is, it will help you get the end result. Like, I wish a paint
Yep.
person would come by my house right now because we need new paint.
Oh.
Right? So get the end result. And so now it's just a matter of stepping into the conviction. And I love how you said it's not just the words you say, but it's how they hear it, the auditory, and it's the tonality, and it's everything. And
Oh
ultimately
yeah.
it's you as the person embodying this concept of sales with that
Mm.
conviction that Emily's talking about, because then whatever your tone of voice is, high or low, intentional or not, like, people are leaning into you and they're like, I have to. That's why my friends used to say you could sell ice to Eskimos, because
Yeah.
I just was so passionate about whatever it was, I always have been, that I'm selling or part of,
Yeah.
that I fully embody it the way that you're describing. And
Well,
that was,
that's beautiful. And that's like alignment too, right? You do want to be aligned with what you're selling. If
yeah.
um my dad sold tires. He was a mechanic for a really long time, and then he was in the game of selling tires. And like, to me, I guess after a while I could get behind selling tires, but it's not something that I'm like totally jazzed out of my mind about. So, but for him, he knew and understood and was like super passionate about like car safety and reliability of your vehicle and keeping up with it so that it gets your family around, right? And so he was able to adopt selling tires in a way that he was like he knew down to his core. He would even talk about it like today if I were to ask him. Like, he knew down to his core, like, that it was so beneficial. Like, I help people with tires.
Oh my God. Say dad below if we need Emily's dad to come on.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has a lot of great sales stories and
I
helping people.
bet.
Yeah.
Emily, to start to wrap up, I know you have a framework or a methodology you use with your clients in the Closing Edge Academy. So tell us a little bit about what those steps of your system are, what your signature process is.
Yeah, I love that. So we've got a few of them, but like one of the main ones that I've found after working with so many different like coaches and consultants and women is just we need it. This is called the closing edge method, and it's making your offer obvious.
Mm.
It's making your messaging land, right? And make obsession led messaging where your audience is like, yes, this is for me, right? And then sales conversations that end in a clean yes or no decision, right? So once you have kind of this holistic approach to those three things being aligned, remember we were talking about that conviction. Like, when you feel good about your offer and you feel really great about the way you're communicating it because you feel good about it, then it becomes easier to sell. So the whole idea of the closing edge method is just how do we make sales feel so fun, so good, and so beneficial in a way that we can get behind it, just like we were saying. Like, we can get behind ice, we can get behind tires, like any of this stuff. We know that on the other side of it, it's not like about the thing, it's about what's beyond that. And when we get all those three things aligned, that's
Okay.
what really
Yeah,
comes
because
up
I'm
with the
already,
conviction.
I'm like literally with your dad and the tires, and you were talking about reliability and safety. I'm like, wow, obvious to me now. So make it
Yeah.
obvious. But it really isn't. Like, I'm like, well, I guess I could get behind selling tires because I would make commissions on it. But no, you're talking about, right, the obvious factors that, like, your safety and reliability of
Mm-hmm.
the vehicle and keeping you on the road and your family. Like, so that's the obvious part. And then,
Right.
so that's step one, you said, right? Make it obvious.
Yeah, it's like well, first of all, what are we offering? And is it tires
Oh,
or are we yeah, so in the case of tires, it's like and actually this is a question I get all the time is like how do I convey the value? And the
okay.
thing about value is that it's about the person, right? So does the person you're talking to when you are selling tires, do they value safety? Do they value having the best tires for their if you think about reputation? Is another way of value. So it's time, money, reputation, and energy, right? So for reputation, is it a particular kind of car that ups their status level? Or do they have a car like I live in Colorado where they go off roading and like mountaineering and all sorts of crazy stuff? And so they need these like really baller tires that like get them on all this different terrain. Who's the person you're talking to? Do they spend a lot of time commuting? Right. And so in that case, like they need a smooth ride. So you have to understand one, what you're offering, what's the different things that people could possibly value about that thing. And that's what we talk about when we're talking about an obvious offer, right? Like, obviously, if you're selling to this kind of a person, this is the angle you can take. And then messaging, right? So now if I know and understand the different versions of the people that I'm talking to based on what they value, that's when the messaging really starts to land and we make it a decision then, right? It's like, cool, you're going mountaineering next week and like these are the tires you need, right? Because
Yeah.
I need to show you what just came in. This is specific for what you're doing. No other tire is going to compare to
Right.
achieving what you want to do. And you're like, obviously you're in the conversation of like what they're doing and all the different trips that they've taken and all the different terrains and like, you know, the dangers of if you don't have the right tires. And this is just tires, right? And I just said a minute ago, I don't know if I could get behind selling tires, but when you make it like fun like this, you're like, brainstorming all the different ways people could value tires. And now you're like, I need those tires.
Wait a second. I need to go to that.
How are we talking about tires today?
Okay. I love this so much. Make it obvious, make it land, and then make it a decision is your 3-step for
Correct.
closing edge method. And so, like, let's start to wrap up
Yep.
also with the idea of like sales should be fun, right? It's like,
Yes.
I don't know how many sales jobs you have. We've obviously both had several between the two of us. And it can become daunting. I have another shift at the
Yeah.
limited, or like, I got 20,000 more emails to send this week, or whatever, wherever you work, whatever the situation
Yeah.
is. But there's this element of fun. And I think when there's people in a community selling in a traditional capacity, the funness comes from like sometimes the competitiveness, sometimes the contests,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes other things. How do we create fun when that doesn't exist? Right? It's like,
Yeah.
if I'm a coach on the internet and I just found this podcast and I'm like, okay, I buy into the belief that I don't need to be a killer salesperson. This isn't a sales training. This is like, how do I become more convicted in what I'm selling and use
Mm-hmm.
Emily's closing edge academy strategies to win more clients and get myself and my clients on the other side of that wizard cliff? But how do I don't have anybody to commune with? How do I make it fun?
Yeah.
Or there's a bunch of
I
things.
have several ways you can make it fun depending on the kind of person you are, what you enjoy. One of the things is if you're a problem solver and you love the psychology behind it, right? Like, how am I going to leave this person better than I found them? How am I going to meet them where they're at and bring them to where they want to go? Okay, so that's one way. Second way is going to be I don't know if you're into reality TV. I am into like spill the tea, give me the drama. Like, that is how you go into a sales conversation. Like, I want to know everything. Like, and now the person you're talking to is like your BFF and they're giving all the details about why things aren't working right now, and you're like, girl, okay, let's switch gears. Thank you so much for saying all of that. I cannot believe you've been handling all of that. Let's switch gears. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to feel this? Like, what does it look like for you? Like, paint that vision. I'm here, and they feel that connection with you too. So now they want to tell you what it looks like, and they're riffing. So that's another way that I've made it fun. I highly recommend getting into a room where there's other people that have similar ideas or similar goals as you, or who have leveled up to a place you want to get to. I don't think you should be alone in this journey, because boy, is it a roller coaster. And Kristin and I can attest to that too. Like we're all feeling that. So get in a room with support and make it fun. Or have somebody at least that you can call and celebrate with.
Yeah, celebrate everything, even the
Yeah.
losses, even the hard days, even the day after spring break.
Yeah. Even the day
Uh,
after spring break.
yeah, okay. So problem solve. And you saw Emily, the reason I brought that up is because you saw Emily say, wait a second, I just said I didn't know if I could sell tires. And now here we are. We've accidentally made the last 7 minutes all about tires because she was in her creative problem solving
Mm-hmm.
brain thinking of, hold on, like it's not about me selling the tire. It's about what the right tire does for the right consumer at the right time. And then
Yes.
remind us what you said were the four things about why people buy, or the.
Oh, so time. So this is learning what somebody values. And typically people value sometimes more than one, but there's usually one that you'll hear in the conversation them mention or say without saying. And it's time, money, reputation, which is like your status, right? That's why people buy Rolexes and stuff, or energy is the fourth one.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Emily, this has been
This was
so.
so fun.
Speaking of fun, where can people find you? Like, what do you want people to do next? How do you want
Yeah,
people?
I love that. One of my what I would offer to you guys is come to Facebook. I have a high ticket secrets Facebook group where I do extra free trainings. You get all the information on any of my upcoming master classes, Closing Edge Academy, and ways to work with me. But we have so much fun in that group as well, talking about sales, talking about it in a way that feels like this. So come play with us in there.
Okay, we will link that in the show notes.
Love that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
for having me.
Oh my gosh, this was so fun. I maybe we'll do a version 2 and bring your dad. Bring your dad out of retirement to talk about sales.
Okay, I would love that. He'd probably love to talk about all sorts of stuff, sales and tires and cars and whatever else he sold too.
I love it. All right. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.